Learn about the benefit of participating in mentorship programs to seek support from subject matter experts. The session will also showcase Cisco's corporate social responsibility program and how employees are leveraging technology to give back in their communities. We will be having a few polls throughout the webinar. Your participation is highly appreciated. A Q&A session will also be scheduled at the end of the webinar. So please submit your questions in the questions box to the right. Karim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you, everyone, for joining this not very sunny afternoon in Beirut. As Noor kindly introduced, my name is Karim. I'm part of Cisco Lebanon's office based here in Beirut. I'm a marketing manager. And today we're going to talk about technology for good. As what the presentation says, it's how Cisco uses technology to help people, to help societies, and to help the environment. So I'm very excited to be partnering with Mentorship, Mentor Arabia, to really discuss this important topic. And for our audience members, whether they're graduates or professionals, I hope we can take from this webinar something and excite you to volunteer in your communities to help and also leverage the technology. And we'll be showcasing examples today that I hope will be of value to our esteemed audience. So let's begin. In today's session, we're going to talk a bit about Cisco, just for you to understand the company, for those who do not know what Cisco does and what we do. Then we're going to talk about our culture. We call it our conscious culture. And part of the discussion will be around the value of mentorship programs and how we as a company use mentorship to help our employees. And more importantly, why it's important for the graduates and the young and early in career audience members to leverage programs, whether within your own companies, if you have if you're part of them, or ones that we will discuss towards the end of the session during the Q&A. Also, as the subject states, technology for good, it is what it is. We will be giving you case studies, whether from crisis relief, so going after a catastrophe like the devastating Beirut explosion, all the way to protecting rhinos in Africa and how we use technology to help our environment and our people. We also have a section for all our social handles. So I urge all members of the audience to listen in and to follow our pages. And last but not least, you can reach out to us at the end of the session. But I urge all members of the audience to also put questions into the chat window, which you have on your screen. We're using Webex, which is the Cisco, collaboration portfolio product that enables us to connect together during these difficult COVID times. So, I am a human rights activist, and my passion is helping protect women and domestic rights here in Lebanon. I'm very active in that community. I just want to give you a bit of an introduction of myself. I am a marketing manager at Cisco. I've been with Cisco over 12 years. And I am very proud to say I'm also on Cisco CSR Council, which helps drive humanitarian efforts across Middle East, Africa, Europe, and Russia. And given the activities in Lebanon, unfortunately, we've been quite busy. I'm sad to say, especially during the crises we are currently facing. So Cisco obviously is a company that sells routers, switches, collaboration devices, access points. It's basically what you use today to connect to the internet. Just to give you some of the metrics, 80% of the web traffic is on a Cisco network around the world. That is an alarming number. So that 80% of the world economy is on a Cisco device. We have 77,000 employees in 95 countries. Here in Lebanon, our offices are in downtown Beirut. Sadly, we're impacted by the explosion. We're currently not working from home. We're working from home due to COVID, but we have 20 colleagues based in the office. But we also have an amazing group of Cisco partners, and I can see in the audience we have some Cisco partners that have joined the session. So shout out to our colleagues in the partner community. As of the fiscal year 20, you have 50 billion in revenue, and this is just to give you an understanding that we not only are active in the helping space, we're also a very active member in the IT space. So our focus areas remain to discuss these 5 categories, and they are, trust and responsibility, leading a conscious culture, environmental impact, circular economy, and technology for good. Today, we're going to talk about leading a conscious culture and technology for good. But before we start, may I ask you, Maha, to put the poll up to see our audience where they're coming from and what they're doing. So Maha will be posting a poll now that we ask you all to support.
Sure. So the poll is already there.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see on the screen here, I just want to call out 2 metrics that I'm very proud of to share today in our webinar, that 81% of our employees have volunteered. And that's what I want to ask our colleagues to on the call to think about, is you can do a lot for your communities, whether it's, donating money or also donating your time. There are a lot of activities that are being done around the region to help communities, and I know most of us are probably active, but if you're working for a company, please advocate for this to be part of the culture, especially that a lot of the communities around the world currently need it. And just want to call out, with COVID and the pandemic, we've stepped up, and over $50 million worth of equipment and funds have gone out. I'm also proud to say that a lot of some of this money has come to help here in Lebanon. So our CEO is Chuck Robbins, and it's important to highlight what it is we are talking about. Chuck is our leader, and he's a big advocate of CSR, and it comes from the top down when the leadership is pushing for us to really give back to our communities. Then by default it goes down the chain, and that's why within our DNA it is our conscious culture of giving back. So we are excited about that. And one way we do that, one way we really are active in the environment and we're out there, is through our leading a conscious culture. So what is a conscious culture? A conscious culture is something that is made up of 3 elements. And I think as any company in the region or around the world should really capture these 3 elements, because this is what drives employees. It drives their productivity, drives their efficiency, drives their commitment to their company, and also pushes them to help in their community. So we categorize our conscious culture into 3 categories. So the environment, to ensuring that our office, the people in our office, our society, and our planet are all in unity and thriving together. We're also open to our culture being a culture of ethics, proper behaviors, principles, rituals, and respecting others. Whether it's Cisco or any other company, I hope we are pushing for inclusion and diversity, whether it's hiring women, whether it's hiring people from different ethnicities, from different religions. And sadly, in our part of the world, sometimes this is not very common. So we push and we hope this will occur. And then obviously for us, when this happens, we end up doing more in our communities. So I mentioned that within our culture, we have a conscious culture. This allows us to have mentorship programs. So we did a survey at Cisco, and we asked our executives, why is it important to mentor? Why is it important to be a recipient of a mentorship program, to be a mentee? And 75% of our executives, and we're about 75,000 strong employees, so 75% of the leadership, all state and credit mentoring as one of the key roles in the advancement of their careers. You think about that. That is a very powerful message that we need to take advantage of these types of programs. So from my own experience, being at Cisco over 10 years, I've been through multiple mentorship programs and multiple development programs. And I can tell you firsthand, for me, the value of a mentorship program, or being part of being a recipient, or even being a mentor in some cases, is expanding our network. We are able to build new communities, new connections, new relationships that can help you in your career. So whether it is developing your career or whether it's focusing on a skill set. I was once working with a mentee who had problems doing public speaking. So we worked together and helped push her to be more, in a more public space. So that program, that bond helped evolve her. It also helped with improving work-life balance, learning from others, how they're managing their life. It's super important not to get maxed out at work, but also have a balance with life. Understanding different cultures. I mean, from my experience, I once had a mentor who lived all the way in New Zealand. So learning about the New Zealand culture, how they operate, really was an eye-opener for me. And that's why I urge all to navigate these types of projects. And most importantly, it's sharing best practices, whether it's the mentor or the mentee. Connecting together the way Cisco does is something I strongly urge all to follow. And there are programs out there for young graduates that they can leverage. And we're talking about one specifically later for Lebanese, young Lebanese graduates. So now, the cool thing that I'm very passionate about is called technology for good. And like the name says, this individual, this young boy in Africa, is using an iPad to connect from a forest, from a jungle. That speaks volumes, in my opinion. It's connecting nature with technology, and we have done a lot around this practice to helping, push our technology practice. So from whether it's solving educational problems or empowering students to learn from remotely. Now with COVID, we're all studying from home. And how do we empower the technology out there to help children learn and observe content in a fast-paced way? So we are very excited to partner with NGOs and organizations. And I'll be showing you a few examples now, and hopefully that will inspire us to do the same. But before I do that, I want to share with you our goal, our commitment around the world. So we have a commitment set forth by our CEO to impact 1 billion people by 2025. We're halfway there. Within the last 5 years, we've touched on 500,000 plus people, whether it's using the technology, whether it's benefiting from our grants, whether it's learning content, whether it's participating in the programs, which I'll be showing to you shortly, which I urge all young graduates and members of the community to take advantage of. So how do we do it? Well, we do it through 3 categories. Helping through critical human needs and crisis responses. When there is a natural disaster around the world, whether it's an earthquake, a volcano, a hurricane, or even the Beirut explosion, we were there to help with first relief and first response. At the end of the day, can you imagine a world without the connectivity, without us talking together online through our smart devices? Well, in a crisis, that's even more important. And I'll be showing you some examples from Lebanon quite shortly. Also, access to education. I think that is key to us. And also, empowering people through microloans in society. And we're talking about some examples out there that will help people get jobs in the future. Now, while you pull up the next poll around volunteering, I'd like just to share with you our some of the programs Cisco offers from a volunteer standpoint that as organizations who are on the call can take advantage of. So within our culture, we have something called time to give. Every employee is allowed 5 days a year to actually dedicate his time or her time to giving back. We also have, volunteer programs. People are even flown out to different regions to do stuff. We have a giving platform, which we'll show shortly, and we use it a lot in Lebanon. It's a platform sort of like crowdsourcing, but for charities and for companies who want to use charity. And we also have matching gifts. So if a Cisco employee, donates money or time, his hours or her hours, the company will match that contribution. So you can be passionate about, let's say, the Red Cross and want to volunteer with the Red Cross. The time you take with the Red Cross is captured, and it's donated to the organization. That's the beauty of it. So the company and these types of programs help drive good behavior. And the program I first want to show you is called Bright Funds. So it's brightfunds.org. So this is an amazing tool which companies now can leverage. It is a platform, sort of like these crowdsourcing platforms around the world, but this is dedicated for charities. And the way it works is, the company, this interface will register NGOs for the organization, and then you can work with them and match the funding. So it's your one-stop shop for donating, volunteering, and matching gift requests. So for folks on the call that are from companies, please check out their website. We highly recommend exploring potential opportunities to create these types of collaborative experiences. Now, moving on to the crises. So as you know, there are a lot of crises around the world, and we're at the forefront of helping where we can. And from a COVID standpoint, we have offered free Webex for whoever is interested. So if you're interested in our free Webex opportunities to connect, we can help you, especially if you are part of an NGO or helping in some form or way. We have also donated millions of dollars worth of cash and PPE masks to products to needy companies and needy organizations and needy people. And more importantly, though, it's about this whole proactive effort. So the company recognizes the pandemic, and we have worked very closely with the World Health Organization. And I'm also very proud to say we have also started initiatives in Lebanon with Rafiq Hariri Hospital and other institutions. So we'll get to that when we talk about Lebanon. But TACOps, this is an organization that I'm very proud of. These are the Cisco Heroes, as I call them. Whenever there is a natural disaster, they're on the ground. After the Beirut explosion, they were also assisting with relief efforts, so supporting local law enforcement and the fire brigade. And think about it this way. I am, as I mentioned earlier, technology is super important in helping. So we help, and you can see on the screen here, this van. This van is a facility that offers Wi-Fi connectivity and very strong power and connectivity to the zone where the impact is, and helps first responders in connecting, communicating, and also gathering data. As you know, in Lebanon, after the explosion in Mar Mikhail, base camp was set. And this is a powerful example of how everyone came together and they used technology to help make a difference. So you can see here, our TACOps organization works free of charge across the globe whenever there's a natural or human disaster. And Mercy Corps is a good example. Mercy Corps have offices in Lebanon and have offices in the region. And we did something very powerful with them. For those who don't know who Mercy Corps are, they're a very big NGO that focus on poverty and helping people in need around the globe. And estimated over nearly 80 million people have been displaced worldwide. So they focus on supporting the likes of refugees, both from natural and human conflict. And around 168 million people need aid at one moment in time. So we partnered with them on a 5-year technology program to help digitize solutions that helps them help people. So we are very proud to say in the first 3 years, we've touched on 7 million people and set up something called the Signpost platform, which is a technology platform that helps refugees get critical information services and access to online resources and education. A lot of whether you're a refugee or not, we don't segregate. And for us, it's super important that everyone has an opportunity to learn. Everyone has an opportunity to have access to information. So this is a project that I think is super, super powerful. It's called the Medibus. So what we did is we actually converted a bus, an actual bus. Now here in Lebanon, the buses are still not up to par, but in other parts of the world, these buses are have been converted, and specifically in Germany, to provide primary care, medical examination, and telehealth consultation. So think of it this way. I'm a patient. I need to connect with a doctor. The bus will arrive to your location. You go into the facility. You connect remotely via a Cisco connection with a doctor in another part of the country who provides support and medical aid. And during the pandemic, we've used this bus to help treat 10,000 citizens for COVID-19 antibodies and PCR tests. And we've vaccinated 40,000 refugees all across Germany. So this is a project we're also looking to explore implementation here in the Middle East. Very excited about this. So who in the audience has doesn't like rhinos, doesn't like animals, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of The Lion King, for example. And when I see this picture, it reminds me of the beauty of Africa and beauty of the jungles of Africa. I had the honor and privilege of going to South Africa and seeing firsthand the power of technology. And what we did was working with the game reserve in Africa, in South Africa, we put sensors and cameras, circuit cameras, closed circuit TV cameras in the jungles of Africa to stop poaching. For those who don't know what poaching is the killing of animals for their horns, for the animal horns. So I'm happy to say that through technology, we have dropped down poaching by 96% in the jungles. So that is a very powerful example of how we can use technology to help the environment. And we're now expanding it to elephants in Kenya and other animals across the region. So the sky is the limit. So this is just to inspire you on what we have done to really help animals across the world. Now, we talked about human crisis needs. We spoke about how we're using, we are actively after an explosion or a natural disaster, or how we're helping our environment. But also, what's super important is access to education. And we are at the forefront of that. So I want to walk you through some of the examples available to our audience to leverage if they want to learn more about technology. And I'll start with 3 programs. We have the Networking Academy program, which is very active across the Middle East. We have the Global Problem Solver Challenge, which I kindly ask all of you to leverage and check out. And I urge all members of the audience to try to participate in this program. We have a grand prize, and I'll talk to you about that. And we also have an online web series of animated videos, which you can learn about key issues. So there's a lot of content free of charge available for you as we look further. The Networking Academy program is a powerful program out there for our audience. For those who do not know what the program is, we're offering networking and IT teaching and learning to our students. So if you're a student and you'd like to learn about the program, we have free programs out there. You can work with NGOs, and you can check our website to learn more. And if you're interested in participating in this program, feel free to reach out to me. But I can happily tell you that 2.3 million students around the world are using our program. And across the Middle East, we're very active. And we have thousands of students also from Saudi Arabia to Lebanon, to Jordan, to Egypt, to Morocco, to Tunisia, and others that are leveraging this program. So feel free to reach out to me or the panelists on in the chat if you'd like to learn more about participating in the Networking Academy. You probably heard about CCNA. These are types of the certifications we have available. And a lot of companies these days ask for IT professionals to have certifications so that they can get hired. So this will beef your resume if you leverage these types of programs. Now, did you guys know that we offer a $250,000 prize for someone or a team that can come up with an idea to use technology for good? I didn't even know this a while back, but I found that to be very, very powerful. Imagine you can come up with an idea, help people, also get paid for it. I think it's a win-win. So if you'd like to learn more about the program, you can check out cisco.innovationchallenge.com, or reach out to us. But I want to give you one example of how amazing these types of ideas are, just to inspire you. So in Kenya, what happened was a company called Savannah Circuit Tech. It was set up by an individual. Specifically in Kenya, one of the biggest production is of milk coming from cows in the farms. Kenya is a very big country. So what was happening were, when the milk was being produced on the farm, they were being transported to the city. What was happening is that 20% of the milk was being destroyed along the way, whether it was because of the weather or because it would get expired or whatever the case. So this individual came up with an idea where he would create containers, smart containers, connected to the internet, connected to sensors, connected to solar energy, that would regulate the milk at a certain temperature all the time. And it would also have GPS access to it, so that in case the milk gets lost along the way, people can find it. So the beauty of this program, this was our winner from 2020. Our program will open up at the end, early at the end of summer. So for audience members, if you'd like to be part of the program and you have an amazing idea, I urge you all to submit. You could be a lucky winner in our program. So and we also have the problem solver series, which you can access, and it's gpstheseries.com, and it helps students and graduates explore entrepreneurship, learn how to work in the workforce, and using technology for social good. So I urge all members of the team in the audience to check out and bookmark these links, because they are they're free, and they're very powerful ways of learning. So moving on, I'm just going to skip the slide and move forward. On the economy and economic empowerment front, I just want to highlight one amazing program, and this is called from a company called Kiva Labs. We invested money in this lab, and if you have an idea that you'd like, the lab can help you with funding. So this organization lends money to underdeserved individuals globally. So if you want to work with a rural community and you want to help them, reach out to Kiva. They're an online crowdsourced peer-to-peer leading network that can drive best practice. And you can see just some of the metrics. Over $3 billion were borrowed. Sadly, in the Middle East, we don't see a lot of borrowing. So hopefully we can inspire people here in the audience to start leveraging the programs out there that will help kickstart your business. Okay, I like to save the best for last. And Lebanon, being Lebanese, we put a lot of effort to helping our community. And I want to show you some of the examples out there that I feel could be of impact and inspire us more and more. So as you know, I spoke about our Bright Funds platform. So as Cisco employees, we set up multiple Bright Funds initiatives, which I told about, which is our online crowdsourcing platform. It all started when the wildfires began before the revolution, and then all the way to COVID-19 support today. And the way it works is a Cisco employee would come up with an idea, would go onto the website and create a fund, then promote his fund across his community and put a goal. Every time an individual from the company will donate to the fund, the company will match that fund. And we're proud to say that over $500,000 worth of money was given to our country through these types of initiatives. And the beauty about this whole thing is we had colleagues in Brazil, colleagues in the US, colleagues in Germany, colleagues all over the world supporting us. And I strongly urge all to leverage the power of technology to spread the word. I mean, we started small and look at the impact. So we are coming together to help. Who doesn't know Flash? Flash, the Chilean dog that stole our hearts following the explosion in Mar Mikhail. As you all know, following the explosion, the whole Mar Mikhail district was devastated, and the whole area across the port was impacted. And at the time, we had amazing volunteers from Chile fly in to Beirut to help look for survivors. And if you recall, they did an excavation in one of the sites to search for a heartbeat, which turned out at the end to be a false positive. But at the time, no one knew. And they were using Cisco Wi-Fi technology to communicate together. So we set up a Wi-Fi mesh across the hotspot in the collaboration with NetHope and IDM to really help the volunteers on the ground. And by the way, as of now, if you go to Marim Khayed and you look at your mobile and you search by your Wi-Fi, you will see a Cisco network that's still free. So you can access the Wi-Fi when you're in Marim Khayed or across the whole area. So we deployed over 50 access points across the whole street to help, and base camp, which were the volunteers on the ground. I call them the silent heroes. They were actually also using it to collect data, send aid, and help. And without the Wi-Fi connection, without the infrastructure, their lives would have been much harder in their help. I had the privilege of meeting the Chilin team on the ground, and they fell in love with the people of Lebanon and our enthusiasm and support. And it was very powerful and heartwarming to see them in action, trying to help us. And also, I have on the screen with you here the St. George Hospital. As you know, the hospital was devastated by the explosion, and they lost lives between nurses and patients. So we installed the new network for them now that they're up and running to help get the upper hospital back on track. So here is an example of how TACOps, which is the organization I explained to you earlier, helping following the devastation of the explosion. In Lebanon, also, we are actively helping Rafiq Hariri Hospital and the International Red Cross with Kovitz Support, and we are currently looking to connect patients that are in the ICUs at the Hariri Hospital through iPads, through tablets, through our technology to speak with their loved ones. As you know, due to the lockdown, due to quarantine, they're not able to talk. So we're trying to use the technology to help people connect together. And we have also donated over $250,000 in aid. And I'm very proud to say that we are working very closely with an NGO in Lebanon called Ahla Fawda. They are also silent heroes on the ground. I had the privilege and honor of working together to help fight the pandemic in Lebanon. As you know, the numbers are not good. We have one of the highest death rates in the world, and the company came to help. So we provided a grant to help with hospital support, whether it's ventilators or even providing PPE distribution masks and aid to the civil defense and special needs children and institutions. So we've touched over 1,000 people in a very short time across all the country. And actually today, I was in a meeting earlier with the civil defense looking to see how we can donate to them PPE masks, who are also helping on the front lines. So you saw how we use technology after a crisis. You saw how we're using education and the programs available. But I think the most important thing I want you to take away from are the people. I mean, working with Ahla Fawda is just one example of the passion people have to help. So I strongly urge all, if you have any suggestions or would like to learn more, you can check Ahla Fawda or our website to learn more about the programs. And we have blogs that are available for you. In the Bekaa Valley, we set up what you call a Refugee First Response Center Unit, RFRC. This is in partnership with an NGO in Zahle called Beyond. And what we did there is we put up a container that includes medical facility, like the Medibus, but was actually a container where patients would go in to the facility. There would be a doctor from the Ministry of Health. He or she would treat the refugee or also the local community. We don't segregate. And if they need, let's say, a dermatology consult or a psych consult, they would click on the link on the screen and they will connect with a doctor remotely who will be able then to provide the needed care. So as of now, we have over 500 people that have used the facility, and they're using our Wi-Fi technologies for remote consultations. So one example of in Lebanon of how we're using really technology for good. And I'm very proud of it because beyond are working very closely with children, youth, and women, something very dear to me. And last but not least, I have Maha on the who is one of the panelists today. We worked very, very closely with Skechers in the United States to distribute 50,000 pairs of shoes to children across the country. And it all started with a simple connection we did with a colleague in the US using collaborative technologies, who then provided us with links and contacts for the NGO Souls for Souls in the US, and then got the ball rolling. Look at that beautiful mural on the screen. This is a very powerful visual of how, you know, we're helping children, and nothing better than to warm their feet. And Tiffany Turner, who is the Director of Outreach at Souls for Souls, said it best. It's about the partnership and the power of collaboration. And what better way to do it than working together? These children need our help. We are very excited to help them. Some of the kids here, their parents were impacted in the explosion. So the least we could do is try to make them smile. And I'm very happy and proud of the work being done by all parties in driving this effort. And we welcome ideas. If you have any ideas, you have any suggestions, you want our help, reach out to us and we're here to help you. So here are our Cisco handles you can follow: csr.cisco, Facebook CSR, our Twitter handle, our Instagram. I really appreciate if you can take the time to follow them. They have a lot of content available online and you can definitely learn. And also we value your feedback. So please do share with us your thoughts. So I will now leave the floor to Q&A. We have 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions, do you have any questions in the Q&A panel, Noor, Maha?
Yes, we do have a few questions that came along. So
Yes.
We will go, I will be asking them for you.
Sure.
And let's start with the first question. So you mentioned in the presentation one of the ways that Cisco is volunteering is through protecting biodiversity.
Yes.
And the slide where you showed you're protecting animals such as rhinos and then elephants.
Yes.
During the wildfires that happened in Lebanon, and you mentioned that you're Cisco supporting this.
Yes.
How are you using technology to help the environment?
That is an excellent suggestion, Noor. And actually, we're actually looking now to help using technology for preventative measures. So one idea that's being explored is to deploy sensors in the forests of Lebanon and the forests around the world, the Amazon and others, is to put these types of Internet of Things sensors, we call them IoT sensors, into, into nature, connect them to Wi-Fi, and then signal if there is a problem. It will monitor temperature levels, they will monitor and we also install sprinklers like in a actual building, but now deploying it in an actual natural environment. And the idea is to prevent certain aspects. And as you know, there's seasons for fires, so we can make sure, for example, when the season is dry towards the end of summer, everything is up and running, we're monitoring. So it's very powerful, and the data will help us measure that. Does that answer your question, Noor?
Yes, it does actually, and it's great to hear that such technology exists and it's being planned to be implemented here in Lebanon. Karim, moving on to the second question, are there any cultural barriers for mentoring in the Arab world? Is it more popular in the West, based on your experience?
So from my experience, it is more receptive in the West. Yes, it's more, the idea of receiving criticism, I believe, is more acceptable in the West. I mean, still in our part of the world, there is the authoritative figure that when you're talking to someone more senior than you feel, first of all, sometimes you feel embarrassed. You have to share with them. You're trying to impress them. That's not the objective. The idea is to have an honest, transparent engagement. And that's what I've been always telling my peers, is that take advantage of the experience that person brings. And as of actually yesterday, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and we were talking about connecting her with a regional manager in Los Angeles. Look how far from Lebanon to Los Angeles. And that's the beauty of it. We don't want them to be interacting with people from the same culture. We want them to learn from other cultures and have that cross collaboration. And I see on the screen, Hala, thanks for sharing your question. You're asking, I'm just going to call it out, you know, ask more about your experience with mentoring. I mean, I don't think I would be where I am today without mentoring, whether it's being a mentor or being a mentee. This win-win experience, you learn from both. The challenges I face in the Arab world, as Hala asks, first of all, there is the barrier, the gender barrier. I mean, once I was connecting with a colleague in Saudi, and she was a lady. She is a lady. I'm a guy. There was a bit of that awkwardness. I think there is still taboo around that topic. Also, as I said, the attention, the authoritative level. And thirdly, I think is also the acceptance of criticism. I think this is really important that I've seen. Top three.
Okay, thank you, Karim. Moving on to the third question. Are there any mentorship programs for young graduates to access within Cisco, whether regionally or internationally?
So as I showed you, we have our entrepreneurship programs, which I showed earlier, our Power Challenge and Networking Academy program, which helps with education, and our Power Series that you can see on your screen. But I can call out an NGO that is a Cisco Bright Funds partner called LabNet. LabNet are a community which I'm also proud to be part of in the Valley in Silicon for Lebanese in the tech space. So what it is, it's the likes of people who are from different industries in the IT world connecting together and helping Lebanon. So there is a mentorship program out there. Young graduates can leverage connecting with peers of theirs outside of the country and learning from them how to, learning their experiences. So there is a program. I think we can put it into the chat window for colleagues who would like to bookmark the link. But at Cisco, our mentorship programs are more designed towards internally in the company. But I did share with you examples, and there's no harm in taking and learning from our conscious culture of giving back. Thank you, Noor, for putting the chat in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Karim. Now, moving on to the last question, you mentioned in the presentation that you have the Global Problem Solver Challenge. Is it?
Yes.
Yes. Has anyone from the Middle East won this challenge or applied to it?
Well, one, not yet. Hopefully, members of the audience will get inspired to apply this towards the end of summer. Opens up in October, but start thinking from now. Check the website, look at the ideas people did last year and the year before. We have increased the prizes to over $1 million across all the categories. And we are really excited about helping our youth. And if they have an idea that can help with a social passion of theirs, whether it is environment, whether it's helping animals, whether it is bringing medicine, whether it's fighting the pandemic, whatever the case may be. I showed you the example of the individual from Kenya who used a simple idea of a solar infused entity that can capture milk and help regulate milk, saved over 30% of loss, which is millions of dollars just in one country. So the sky is the limit. So to answer your question, no, we have not. We have had submissions from the Gulf, but we have not had any winners. And I hope we can make the region here proud by applying.
Great, Karim. Karim, thank you. And thank you for Cisco team all over the world for basically helping out regionally and internationally, especially helping out our youth. They are our future. And we want to thank you for this great webinar. And we would like to let everyone know that our second webinar with Cisco will be on March 30. Please follow Mentor Arabia on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to find out more about our next topic and the event details as well. Karim, would you like to say something before we end the webinar?
I'd like to thank the audience for attending. I know this session is also going to be recorded. I think, Noor, it's going to be posted on the YouTube link, right? For everyone who would like to access it. Maybe you can just talk a bit about that, please.
Yes, so the recording of the webinar will be available on YouTube in the next few days. You can please spread the word to everyone, and you can share the link with everyone. Yes.
Please do add me on LinkedIn. It's a pleasure to connect with all here, and we're here to help you answer any of your questions. You know, Cisco is connecting the world. I would like to connect with all of you just to really take advantage of your experiences too, and maybe we can come up with the next Giving Back project and make a difference. So hopefully we can collaborate together. Hopefully, I hope this session has given us some inspiration about how technology can really make a difference for our lives and for the better good.
Great. Thank you, Karim. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.